Also, I'm sharing this experience so that you get a view on the spectrum of what is possible in sexological bodywork. At least for me, I'm still in my certification phase and I'm discovering my different ways of working. So I'm bringing different influences from energetic work, possibility management, conflict mediation, and different aspects that can be used in a sexological bodywork session. So it's not always hands-on work, it's not always a work with the genitals. It can be anything that supports you to come more in your power and to create more healthy relationship with yourself and with others. So a few weeks ago I had a session with a couple who came to me with the question of how could they meet each other in a new way beyond the dynamics and the codependency they feel towards each other, and wanted to try out sexological bodywork to find out if it's a space in which they could connect and see each other through a new light in a way. After the talk we had at the beginning, I realized there were extremely entangled toward each other. Like, for example, when I would ask the woman how she was feeling generally in her relationship, in her sexuality, she would always answer saying things about her partner, how her partner was acting, how her partner had been feeling in the past months, and so on. And I had to give her the feedback again and again of like, hey, I hear your partner is really important, but how is it about you? How do you feel? And so on. So through the talk we had at the beginning, it became really visible that they were deeply entangled and not being able to actually see each other and meet each other. And it's actually something quite typical that happens in relationships after a while, or maybe even since the very beginning. We find the perfect partner and we fall deeply in love and we start seeing the world through the relationship, right? So this couple came with the expectation of making a completely new erotic experience with each other, right? But I realized after this first conversation with them that, to me, the first step would be to support them in taking back their own space, their own center, because we all have a physical body and an energetical body, right? And when we start spending a lot of time with someone, building a relationship, we also might practice sex regularly and so on. So our energetical body and physical body starts to become enmeshed and mix and exchange information a lot. And sometimes we don't realize that our personal energetical body is completely mixed with the energetical body of the other person. So this can lead to loss of sense of self. It can lead to a lot of codependency, dynamics of expectation. My partner has to fulfill all my needs and so on. And actually the only place from which we can build healthy, longing, sustainable relationship is from a place of I am centered in me, in my life, in my needs, in my boundaries, and from there I can meet another person with their needs, their boundaries, and so on, and co-create a third energetic space, which is the space of the relationship. So I invited them through the practice of finding the center of their physical body, which is a few fingers down your belly button, which is also the center of your energetical body, and to breathe inside this center. This is a practice that has been really life-changing for me, to feel my center, the center of my energy, the center of my emotions, and to visualize around my body there is my personal bubble of space. This has been also a very important tool for me of self-empowerment and realizing I have my own space and I can decide who I'll let inside my space and who I ask to go away, right? So I often visualize this bubble of space as my own safe space, and I check what is inside this bubble. Is it only what I want to have in there, or are there anything else that I can clear out in a way? So it can be through your day when you start noticing you're having some thoughts that are coming again and again and you can't let go of them, or you sense a person that is popping up all the time, stuff like that. And so you can realize, I'm in a kind of entanglement. I let someone inside my space and maybe I don't want it. I want to take my space back to consciously set my own focus on what I want and not being overwhelmed from everything on the outside. This is also something that is really useful for me personally, not only in relationship, but also living in a big city like Berlin. I need to be aware of this bubble of space and take care of it, clean it. So because it's so overwhelming, like there's so much information and people and noise, so this is a really essential practice that I offer to a lot of my clients. So the next step after guiding the two partners in this center, this bubble, was to ask them to position themselves in the space and to check, okay, how close can we come towards each other without losing our center, without losing the sense of myself, of my needs, of my emotion. And it became really visible what I was saying in the beginning, like the closer they got to each other and the most the woman said she was starting to feel the feelings of his partner and not her own anymore, or the partner was saying, I notice my girlfriend is in my bubble the whole time. I don't know how my bubble is without her inside. And so slowly we talked about everything that was coming up and let the emotions come up and so on, until a certain point they realized they were actually not able to set clear boundaries towards each other. And so we went slowly through a process of mediation where each one of them got a space to express their anger, their boundaries, everything that they were not able to say in the day-to-day life. And then check in again with themselves. How is my bubble of space changing? How is my sense of myself changing through the possibility of expressing myself in a safe space with a third person mediating the conversation, right? And so to me personally, the reason why I want to share this specific experience with this couple is because it was so beautiful to see that we have this old conditioning of thinking when I set boundaries or when I say no, I take the risk of losing my partner, so I have to say yes to everything and adapt all the time, right? And to realize through this possibility of taking back their own space, owning their center and speaking to their partner from this center, they realized after leaving that they were feeling actually even more in connection with each other, like, I see you as a whole person, independent from me, with your need, your boundaries, your wishes, and it's not so entangled anymore, you see? So it was like the man said in the end, it's so beautiful to see her in her anger, in all of her emotions, and not being so identified, like seeing her for who she is right now. And actually this is the moment when we fall in love with someone new. It's because we see them outside of us, right? Like as a whole person outside of us, and that's what most of the time turns us on about a person, right? And then we start a relationship and we start being dependent and codependent and entangled, and the boundary between me and them becomes a bit more blurry. And so I want to give you this tool to practice, no matter if you're a couple or not. Just practice filling your center and clearing out your personal bubble of space once a day, once a week, and observe the changes that happen in your life through this practice. to me it has been really, really visible that I am able to connect and create relationship for a much more healthy place within me when I'm able to sense my center and to sense my boundaries.